Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Wednesday, January the 22nd. We are happy to have you guys in for another episode of the Primetime program. We're going to talk about Mike Borgonzi's introductory press conference. We had the offline session with Chad Brinker, though the best that I could do from that is read you quotes, and there are some interesting quotes in there. Whether or not he ended up actually answering the questions that were posed, I thought that was certainly the more compelling and informative session. And then, the introductory press conference for Borgonzi was what it was. And I've done enough of those at this point in time to kind of temper my expectations for what I'm actually expecting to learn about the Tennessee Titans as an organization, because, certainly in the last 3 years, we've done a few of these at this point in time, to which I asked a question to that effect earlier today. So we'll talk about what we definitively know about the Titans roster plans, because we know that this roster is the crux of any and all issues that the Tennessee Titans are experiencing. The biggest thing, the biggest thread that you can draw between why the last 3 seasons have been awful is because the roster has been awful. And it is that man's job to try and get it back to a functional state, to meaningfully competitive. And they are saying that they are going to get a level of patience here that their predecessors did not get. We'll see how that goes. Amy Adams-Strunk, whether you care or not, she wasn't at the press conference today. She did not speak at the press conference today, nor was she in attendance. That's the first one that she's missed, as far as I know. Certainly she's first photo op that she's missed, as far as I know. And she's empowered a bunch of people to speak on her behalf, and that's probably the way that it's going to be moving forward. I don't expect that we'll hear from Amy Adams-Strunk in any form or fashion for the foreseeable future, and that may be fine with you, because it's about the people who are tasked with doing the jobs and whether or not she's going to let them do those jobs the way that they were hired to do. So we will hear from Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker in a couple of different clips here this evening, and we will talk about what a shit show the rest of it. As bad as you might feel about the Titans at any given point, the Colts, the Jags, the Texans, even though the Texans won the division back-to-back years, all 4 of these teams are they're just something. The AFC South is something, and the news today regarding the AFC South was pretty crazy. And for once, the Titans weren't the focal point of the laughter on the internet today. So we'll get to all of those things. We appreciate you guys dropping by. Before I ask you to share the show, I'm going to quickly mention that there was, while we did the radio show today, and we don't have to spend the time here that we did on the radio show today on it, but the Antioch High School shooting happened while we were on the radio show today. It's the second school shooting that has happened in the 4 years that I have had the radio show while we've been on air. That's the second one. We had the Covenant school shooting happen during our segment, during our allotted day part, and today the Antioch High School shooting. You guys don't care about my opinions on these things, nor would I bother you with them, because that's not my place to do. That's not what you come here for. And we're going to talk sports tonight, even though we couldn't do it on the radio show for the final hour today because of everything that was going on. It was developing information. It was a news story, and we had to pivot. I just want to say that, of course, we're thinking about everybody whose families were affected by the incident today. If you guys I love you all. I know that we go back and forth and that there's some level of contentiousness sometimes to my tone and the way that I carry myself, but know that I love all of you guys, no matter how often we might disagree or have incidents. And if any of you were affected, and if we can do anything to help you, please let me know. I have so much love for Middle Tennessee. I have so much love for the city of Nashville in particular. I love meeting you guys and your families and all these different things when we're out and about and doing events for the radio station, or, at Titans games, road games, and all these different things. I get to meet you. I get to meet a lot of your kids. I don't have kids myself. I can't imagine what a gut-wrenching feeling that is, to know that these things are fairly routine at this point in time, and that we had another one in the last 2 years, or 2 years removed from the Covenant shooting, happen to our local community. I don't have to tell you that we're going to get through this, because we always do. The thing that I said today was, I hope that people don't get numb to it, because it is it's truly every time. It's just every time is as horrifying as the last time. And I hate that I've had to do 2 of them. One, I hate that they happen at all, but I hate that we have had two of them happen specifically during the radio show here in Middle Tennessee. So, like I said, anything you guys need, my DMs on Instagram are open. My DMs on Twitter are open. If we can, shed light on people who need financial assistance or anything like that, please don't ever hesitate. Don't ever hesitate to reach out on any of those fronts. I'm here for you guys in any way that you need me to be. And if you just need me to shut up and talk football tonight, then I'm going to shut up and talk football tonight. But I would hate to just ignore it and go on like it's another day, even though these things do tend to happen with a fair amount of frequency at this point in time. Anyway, so no graceful way for me to transition into talking football at this point, but we'll do it anyway. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the fine people at Zen Sports. Promo code ATOZTN gets you in on all the action, whether you're betting basketball. Obviously, the NFL playoffs still going on right now. Zen Sports is your place to wager on your favorite major sports. TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch. Your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. Go to TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free. They will get you in position to succeed on your physical fitness. Two Rivers Ford makes the car buying process fast, easy, and more fun. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. And if you are in need of financial assistance, Bart Durham Injury Law is there to help you regarding your automobile incidents. You deserve to be paid. Blair Durham and the team at Bart Durham Injury Law are there to serve. Go to bartdurham.com for more information. All right, so news of the day, sports news of the day, is the press conference with Mike Borgonzi. This now, just to kind of detail what today looked like, and to clear up some, because I know we didn't do primetime last night, so we didn't touch on that. Well, Sam did primetime last night. I didn't do primetime last night, so we didn't work our way through just kind of the cluster that was the Chad Brinker media availability. So what happened yesterday? We got an email at about 11:49 a.m. saying Chad Brinker is going to speak at 10 a.m. in a no audio, no video media session, meaning that we can record audio to transcribe quotes after the fact, and the quotes are available to be used and live tweeted, but there cannot be audio that is played. Like, we couldn't take the audio back and play it on the radio show, and there was not a video allowed in that session that obviously we would be able to provide to you. That was the most informative thing that happened today, and you guys didn't get the benefit of getting to see that. Now, the full transcript is available. I tweeted out the three questions that I asked in that specific setting before we went to Mike Borgonzi's press conference that Chad Brinker was also in attendance with, and that was much less contentious setting. But I think, we learned more in the Brinker one earlier in the morning than we did in the introductory press conference, because introductory press conferences are what they are. Hey, why'd you want the job? Hey, why is this a good fit for you? Hey, how far away is the roster? I mean, shit, we've done 3 of these in the last 3 years to some extent, so it's pretty old hat what you typically get to. And there were some things that were learned today, and we do have clarity on their roster plan, or we know things definitively about how they plan to build this roster, and that does matter because the roster is at the crux of the issues. But they put out a media availability thing that just said, okay, Chad Brinker's going to do this, no audio, no video. Mike Borgonzi's going to do this, and that'll be as normal. Didn't say that Chad Brinker was going to be a part of the Mike Borgonzi press conference. They should have clarified that. And I've had some conversations with people with the team about needing to be specific. If they don't want people to, see things like that and be confused by them, then they need to be more clear on what their media plan is. Nor did they clarify that Chad Brinker was going to do the morning show for 104.5 The Zone, which comes on before me, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. They did a really good job. You can go check out that in-studio interview that they did with Chad Brinker this morning. That wasn't a part of the media availability thing that was outlined to us. And then there was, so we got through that, whatever, show up at the facility. I got there at like 8:30, 8:45 this morning and getting ready for the 10 o'clock session. The 10 o'clock session was the most informative session. That's the thing that we don't have. We can't show you what that looked like. I can read for you what it sounded like, but I still don't think that conveys the full gravity of, hey, he's getting some high heat questions in this media session. And I was really proud of the way, a little media love for the media. Not that any of you guys give a shit about that, but I was really proud of the way that everybody handled that situation on our end, because we didn't let this guy off the hook on anything. And whether he chose to answer the questions or not answer the questions, at least we put him out there. And I thought that that was important for us to do. And again, the answers to that, I mean, that's one answer from this morning from Chad Brinker from a 30-minute session. These answers are 10 times longer than anything that you got from the later press conference, where, of course, the focal point, and the team wanted the focal point to be Mike Borgonzi when they did the 11 o'clock, which is why they wanted us to do the 10 o'clock, to get all of the questions, all the knives out stuff out of the way for Brinker before we went into Borgonzi's press conference. Okay, so we do that, we get that done, and we move on. It was weird. Yeah. Do I think they should have done it in front of cameras and microphones? Yeah, because that's the thing that's going to provide you guys with the most context about what this whole thing is, but whatever. They didn't do it. So before we get into what they did show you, I'm going to tell you that the Two Rivers Ford take, which is this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, what was the biggest takeaway from the Titans press conference that you got to see today? Because mine weren't from the one that you got to see today, but from what you saw, what was your biggest takeaway? We'll talk about it together. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it's presented by the South's most trusted Ford dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service. They go above and beyond to put you in position to succeed. The South's most trusted Ford dealer that makes the car buying process fast, easy, and more fun. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com today. I think Caleb Meadows says, Buck, did your opinion change on Brinker walking out of his meeting today? No. Let me say this flatly, because I don't necessarily know if you guys know what my opinion. I don't know that I have a stated opinion on Chad Brinker, other than they've screwed this up 3 times, and now they're getting another crack at this, and whether or not they get it right remains to be seen. Here's my opinion on them. It's not just about Brinker. On them, I don't give a shit what you say, right? Well, let me rephrase. Because words do matter. And if you do not follow through on the things that you say publicly, then you should be held accountable to them. Just, as you guys hold me accountable for all the shit that I say on a regular basis, some justified, some not. So too should the organization be held to account to the things that they say. I don't care about what is said in press conferences specific to what you actually need to deliver on. I didn't learn anything overwhelmingly about that I didn't know about the Tennessee Titans today. I don't know if you guys learned anything different from what you previously knew about the Tennessee Titans based on today's media availability. I've done too many of these press conferences, and specifically I'm jaded because, like Chad Brinker said this morning, they fired 3, in his words, dignitaries, Robinson, Vrabel, Carthon, in the last 3 years, and all they do is continue to lose. I want to know all the different reasons that you made mistakes, or I want to ask at very least all the different things that I'm seeing here that you guys got wrong that led you to that point, which ultimately culminated in the press conference today. Me asking, hey, Chad, you've gotten 3 cracks at this thing. Why do you think you're going to get it right this time? And Brinker clearly fed up with that line of questioning, just deadpan said Mike Borgonzi, and then there was silence, and that was what it was. Okay, I don't think that accomplishes anything, and nor do I doubt that he believes that Mike Borgonzi is going to get this thing right this time. But my position on all of this is, no matter how many media settings that we do, it doesn't matter what they say as much as what they end up doing, and does it translate to wins. Nobody's going to give a shit about any of this other nonsense if you win football games. Not a single solitary person. I'll still care because it's my job to care, and you guys will get mad at me because I'll nitpick and I'll poke and prod, but that's what I'm there to do, right? That's what we collectively, media, are there to do. But at the end of the day, did I learn anything differently than I knew about this organization? No. Does it change my perspective on this organization? No, it does not. My position is, and you guys get to make whatever determination that you get to make, should you trust them? No, there's no reason to. They haven't given you a single solitary reason to trust them. The hiring of Mike Borgonzi makes them more credible, makes their job look more real. It is one of 10,000 steps that they have to take to move forward on all of this. My position is, Do not trust them until they give you a reason to trust them. To date, there has been no reason to trust them that they are going to get this right. If they get this right, then you can make whatever determinations that you want to. I'll still probably have some level of skepticism about them because they've just spent 3 years getting it wrong, and I've been here for that entire process. But ultimately, you have to deliver on the product on the field before you get to talk about chess over checkers, or why is this time going to be different versus the last 3 times? Mike Borgonzi, okay, whatever that means. And I get what he was doing there, but like that doesn't help anything. The press conferences don't help anything. Yes, it gives you an opportunity to actually see these people, hear these people ask questions, whether or not they answer them, a different matter entirely. But I don't feel any differently pre today than I do post today, which is, okay, that's all well and good. Now this guy's going to get a crack at it, but I'm not going to believe you on why you're going to get this right this time until you get this right this time. And I think that they've earned that level of skepticism. However you choose to treat your team is up to you. I'm not here to tell you how to think about them. What I'm here to tell you is how I think about them and how the information that I have informs my decisions on that front. Because Steven Rodriguez on Facebook Live says, I feel a lot better. And that's fine. Like, Steven, if you were made to feel better about today, there's nothing wrong with that. You should be excited about a new general manager. You got the most qualified general manager on the candidate on the market. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But that's not the way that I feel about it. I'm just telling you the way that I feel about it versus how some of you might feel about it at this point in time. So with all that to say, as we look at the variety of different things that this team has to accomplish, what do we definitively know about the Titans roster plan? That's something that we're going to get into. You'll hear from the 2 parties involved here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the wonderful people at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Gary Ashton, the Ashton Real Estate Group team are there to help you, work with you, and get you the intel edge you need to succeed. The official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators, who have won 3 in a row. How about them Preds? GaryAshton.com for more information today. Okay, so everything going on right now with the roster construction. What do we definitively know about the Titans and their strategy to get this done? Well, it's like I said, the media appearances today started with Chad Brinker on Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. That's the show that comes before my show. If you guys listen to the radio station, I'm sure you should check out all 4 shows because they're all very different, but they all do a lot of cool things. Like, for example, Ramon, Kayla, and Will had Chad Brinker in studio this morning, and this was how that situation went relative to their free agency strategy.
First, number 1 overall pick. But how friendly is everybody towards you guys, considering you do have the first overall pick? Some teams want a quarterback, need a quarterback just as much as any other team in the NFL, man. I know we've talked before on the practice field about, hey, picks are important to a team. Mm-hmm. Your guys are important. As far as the quality of picks you have. Mm-hmm. How, open are you to the idea that somebody come calling, then you might answer that as far as moving back and collecting more picks?
Yeah, we got to look at all the options. But the one thing I will say, if there's a generational talent, you don't pass that up. Mm-hmm. You can't pass that up. And if we feel that there's a generational talent right there, what we call a blue player, a guy that is a franchise-type player, the player that tips the field in your favor every time they step on the field, like you cannot pass that up. But we'll also look at all the options, not only at the number 1 overall pick, but in all the rounds. I mean, we got to see what the value is. We got to see what's on the table. We got to, do what's best for the Tennessee Titans and helping us build a football team that can sustain over time. And I've emphasized how important the draft is, that the core of this roster is going to be built through the draft. We're looking at all those options.
It may be a question for Mike Borgonzi, but I brought this up earlier just simply because you mentioned this league is a hard league on you in a lot of different ways. Mentally, physically, losing hurts. Families feel it. Everybody feels it. If you're presented with a situation between you guys where a guy like Jeffrey or Harold decide to, hey, they want to explore somewhere else. Like, where are you guys as far as keeping those guys Titans, or just saying to yourself, the value of this team is probably going to be better because we're able to accumulate picks because they want out and teams want them too?
Yeah, let me say this. I want us to get to a spot where we're homegrown in our own superstars. And with that being said, when it comes to Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry, as tough as this season was, those guys did not quit.
Gotcha.
They played hard all the way to the end. And there's just something about, when a franchise drafts you, they develop you, and then they ultimately pay you. Like, there's a loyalty there. And you can feel that in the locker room, like a Jeff and a Harold. Like, people, like, it just means more to guys like that. And that's the type of guys we want on our football team, that the young guys are coming in and seeing, well, that's how you act like as a pro. That's how you be a pro. Look at Jeff, look at Harold, look at these guys that have been here. They came in here, they were drafted by the organization, they were developed, and they were paid by them. And look how they're playing for the organization. It means more to guys like that.
Chad Brinker with us.
So that is a part of Chad Brinker's interview today on 104.5 The Zone, talking there more specifically about the draft process, the number one overall pick. Mike Borgonzi saying today that he's had a couple of feelers about the number one overall pick. He said, jokingly, keep in contact about this entire situation. I think that there are a couple of different ways that you can look at this, because also something that was said by Chad Brinker today, and I'll take this directly from again, this is the offline conversation with Chad Brinker versus the press conference setting that we had with both Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker about specifically their draft, develop, and retain process, how they plan to get it done, and what they're looking for specifically from the draft accumulation, the draft capital accumulation process. Because the question was asked of Brinker in the offline setting on if Mike Borgonzi's approach to quarterback is unique compared to other candidates as far as the number one pick and the quarterbacks on the roster. This is from Chad Brinker. Yeah, we're looking at everything. I mean, that's probably attractive. That's a pretty attractive thing, too, as a general manager. I mean, what more would you want than to be able to come into a situation where there's a lot of holes on the roster? You get an opportunity to, as the number one pick overall, and to have the number one pick overall and be able to flip a roster. I mean, as a general manager, that's exactly what you want. So we're going to look at all avenues as far as that number one pick. I mean, you can't pass up on a generational talent. I had parenthetically, I wish they would not use the G word. Travis Hunter is the closest thing in this draft class, but I really don't think that generational talents exist the way that people think that they exist. And I don't like the personnel people are comfortable using that term, but whatever. That's just me nitpicking. Quote, we won't do that, but we also have to look at all the options available to us as well, because we want to build this team for the long term. And I just know I mentioned this before. I mean, if I can map this out perfectly, I would love to have 30 picks over the next 3 years, and 12 of those picks come from the top 100. I mean, that would be ideal. That's how you flip your roster. That's how you get youth on your roster. And then let's be selective in free agency, which would imply that they haven't been. Something to keep in mind. And try to find some of the right veterans to balance this roster out and to be able to show these young guys how to be pros. But it doesn't always work that way. You don't always get that generational talent at quarterback right off the bat, like Washington seems like they've been able to do, to flip their team pretty quickly when you do that. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to try. We're going to do everything that we can. We're going to look at every avenue. We're going to look at free agency. We want to look at the draft. We've got Will Levis in the building, and obviously this is more specific to quarterback, but that's not necessarily important because Will Levis is, whatever. The Levis situation is probably done to a certain extent. Now, how they're going to go about getting those 30 picks in 3 years, having the number one overall pick would help benefit that, and they can continue to accumulate draft capital, but their free agency strategy costs them compensatory picks. They're out at least 3 compensatory picks based on Ridley, Cushenberry, Snead, and Awuzie, those deals that they ultimately did. So that takes them out of the compensatory pick running in 2025. It also puts them in a situation where now they have to recoup as much draft capital as possible, because right now they have 8 picks, their stated goal of 10 basically every year for the next 3 years. Outlines a much longer term plan than they have previously gotten the opportunity to have. And that's also something that Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi touched on at the press conference earlier today, which we will get to here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by Zen Sports. Zen Sports is here to help you get in on all the action where betting just gets better. That is 100% Zen Sports. They always have great offers because they give you great offers on any number of odds for your favorite major sports. They also do great giveaways like this one. This month's grand prize winner for the VIP Players Club sweepstakes in the month of January will win a $10,000 bonus bet on the NFL big game in February and $10,000 cash, or an alternative prize of $15,000 cash. You have the ability to earn entries on every bet you place in January and every dollar that you wager, plus earn 10 times the entries on all parlay bets. It doesn't get much better than that. If you don't win the grand prize, don't worry. They also have different grand prizes or auxiliary prizes of $1,000 bonus bets or $250 cash. Head to zensports.com/sweepstakes for a full list of rules. You can also earn a $100 no danger first wager on your first bet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. No danger first wager, limited plus 500 odds to qualify. Terms and conditions do apply. Head to zensports.com/sweepstakes for contest terms and conditions. Must be 21 plus and in Tennessee to bet at Zen Sports. Okay, so what do we definitively know about the Titans' roster plan moving forward? We know that they don't want to go about free agency the way that they most recently went about free agency, even if for you, it felt like a bit of a Christmas shopping spree last March with the amount of free agents that they were able to land. And that was something that Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker spoke on today. They also talked about their draft pick strategy.
Thinking that the team might not be signing free agents at all or close to that. I guess I just wondered, can you clarify a little bit your sort of policy on being more selective in free agency than perhaps the team was last year? You weren't here.
Yeah, like I said, I think, we're going to be a draft and develop team, but we're certainly going to, have our hand in free agency at some points, but you have to be disciplined and smart with it. I think it's important to fill for role players, and guys that are good locker room guys. And when you have a young team, those are the type of guys you need. And like I talked about before, that's what we did in Kansas City when we weren't a very good football team. We brought in some tough veteran, smart guys that could really change the room. Guys like Anthony Fasano and Mike DeVito. I think those are the things we're probably going to be looking at.
Mike, you mentioned. I'll answer your question. I know you asked me as well. Big, fast, smart, tough football players love winning more than anything else, right? But when it comes to building the roster, of course, we want to be big and tough in the trenches. You want speed on the outside. But the question you're asking about the smart and toughness part, that's when we get with the coaching staff. That's part of roster building. You figure out what positions are the ones that you can get away with a little bit less. And that's something, the conversation we will have with Brian Callahan, we'll have with Denard Wilson on the defensive side of the ball, where maybe if you can't find the complete package, what are those positions where we can get away, or where we actually need someone who is just a smart, tough, gritty football player. But there's other positions that you have to have the speed, you have to have the explosiveness, you have to have the size and the length to affect the game that way.
Chat, Mike Borgonzi first, Chad Brinker second, speaking on their outlined roster construction plan and how they are going to move forward. Bert in the chat saying Brink Lesnar at this point instead of Brock Lesnar. They do bear a striking resemblance to one another. I am unclear if Chad Brinker isn't it like a flaming sword right in the middle of his chest? Isn't that a thing for Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, it is that is a thing. It's kind of like a what are those things called? Brass knuckle sword that he got when he debuted in the UFC that everybody loved. I also one thing I took a lot of credence in that when Chad was on the morning show today, he talked about the quarterback position being a neck up position. Well, he would know because that dude has got a fat ass neck. So any authority on neck that Chad would like to be, Chad is the neck authority.
Bert, it's like that meme of Trump that goes around about when he's trying to say thick and you can tell that he's like winding up for the that's what I think about when we talk about that neck.
See, you're going to get in trouble, man. We can't go from talking about
Why
the
am I
Titans.
going to get in trouble?
We can't talk about the Titans being gooch, and now we're talking about, that neck. Oh, Chad got that good neck.
As if I haven't gotten enough trouble from that organization over the course of the last 2 weeks. The amount of phone calls that I've had to field from people with your fucking, excuse my language, from people with your, I mean, that's what it is. Okay, whatever. Like my phone. It is, I mean, because understandably, I have been very aggressive in my criticisms of them. And I just the way that the hypersensitivity around the Tennessee Titans of late has made me chuckle. Because one, you don't get to be hypersensitive at 3-14. They know this, and yet they're still hypersensitive about a good many things that I've talked about. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's been getting calls and texts about, well, why are you saying it this way? Or what do you mean by this? Or this, that, and the other. Stop that neck. I'm going to have the visual of Trump in my head saying, thick. For the rest of the night. It makes me laugh. Yes, the Tennessee Titans now lead the league in thick necks because Borgonzi and Brinker both seem to have the head-up construction of an American Pit Bull Terrier.
Not to make this about me, but this might be the most
Already
brutal.
Done it twice tonight.
Yeah, it's all about me. This is the most brutal comment I've ever seen in my life. He looks like the guy Dick from Dick's Last Resort.
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me? You're going to do that to me?
No.
You're going to do that to me? Say I look like this guy? Come on. Off the top rope. Rotary perfection. Why don't you do some rotary perfection off the damn Cumberland Bridge? You're going to talk to me like that? You're going to talk to me like that? That was a good.
Get off my screen. Oh, my God. So, what do we definitively know about the Titans roster structure? We know that they are not interested in taking the same free agency approach that they have taken in years past, which I think in part led to Rand Carthon's firing, among several other reasons, and that they want as many draft picks as humanly possible, and that their plan of 10 or basically 30 over the next 3 years, whether it's 10 in one draft or 8 in another or 12 in a third, how that kind of looks. They want draft picks. They don't have draft picks, but they do have the leverage that comes with the number 1 overall pick at this point in time. Are Dick's Last Resorts even still a thing? I know that the Nashville one shut down and turned into Barstool, which it's there's jokes to be made about Dick's Last Resort at the Barstool bar as well.
I'll give you one guess.
You're just going to gloss over my Dick's Last Resort joke there? That was good, damn it.
Oh,
you're going
to be upset. You're going to be upset that someone didn't laugh at your joke. Oh, come on. Oh, pot, meat, kettle, baby.
Yeah, but your jokes aren't funny. That was a great joke. That the Barstool Sports Bar is a Dick's Last Resort? Come on.
Wrong crowd. Went right over all our heads. None of us were paying attention.
It's a really good joke.
It was. Everybody in the chat, come on, give him a clap. Gatlinburg and Pigeon. Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge.
Which is the remaining locations of Dick's Last Resort, it would seem, in the state of Tennessee. I deserve more credit for that joke. Look, I'm crying. I made myself cry at this point in time. I've already cried today because of the damn school shooting. It's so. I mean, we don't have to get into the emotional trauma and things like that. But damn. All right. So football, your football team. Do I trust them? No. Could they get it right? Yes. Could they tell me to eat shit afterwards? Absolutely. But we will see how these things move forward. We will see whether or not they get it done. The thing that you can take solace in is that no matter how bad the last 3 weeks have felt for the Tennessee Titans, you're not the Jacksonville Jaguars. The question in the chat that I have for you is this: what is the most dysfunctional AFC South franchise? Colts, Texans, Jags, or Titans, let me know in the comment section. Bert, I don't know if you have that rap sheet clip pulled that I sent to the group. In fact, you do. Look at that. Well done by you. Bravo. Golf clap for Bert. Since he gave me a golf clap, I'll golf clap for him as well. We will get to the Jags situation here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the great people at True Math Fitness in the Gulch, truemathfitness.com. Your first workout is free. No workout ever recycled or repeated. Awesome coaches, an excellent facility, group fitness classes, personal training, and the open gym for you to work out as you please. truemathfitness.com, where your first workout is free. Okay, who's the most dysfunctional AFC South franchise, and why is it the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, this really has been something that the Jacksonville Jaguars have been mowing for the last couple days. Obviously, right in the thick of a head coaching search, and Trent Baalke was assisting owner Shad Khan with the search. The problem is, as most people probably know, some of the top candidates kind of balked at joining Jacksonville because of the presence of general manager Trent Baalke. I think it's safe to say his reputation, fair or not, and I would argue probably not entirely fair, his reputation certainly has preceded him, and there are several candidates I know who would not have taken the job if Baalke was there. Owner Shad Khan obviously caught wind of this, and as they considered now whether or not to bring in some of the top candidates and kind of how to proceed, they decided it was in the best interest of the organization, cut ties here and move on. And from what I also am told, I'm not sure Trent Baalke is completely stunned by this. He has known for the last several weeks that at least this was a possibility, that if it was not in the best interest of the organization, that he would have to be out, and he would be okay with that. He leaves a stocked roster, lots of talent, and now the Jacksonville Jaguars have to hire a new general manager along with hiring a new head coach.
I mean, so they fired Doug Peterson, kept Trent Baalke, who everybody in the league knew that people didn't want to work with, let Trent Baalke conduct their coaching search, had their coaching search land on Liam Cohen, only for Liam Cohen to turn them down and to return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then they turn around and fire Trent Baalke, who they put over their coaching search and who has basically just been wasting 3 weeks to not land a coach. So now they don't have a coach. They don't have a general manager in the week where everybody's hiring them. A week before the Senior Bowl, they don't have a general manager. And now they have to replace both of those individuals after siding with Trent Baalke, who everybody in the world, except apparently Shad Khan, didn't know that nobody wants to work with Trent Baalke. It's just the Jags are crazy. Titans have their problems. Their problems are well documented. The Colts have their problems. The Colts' problems are well documented. The Texans, they have the best quarterback, so they've been a shit show historically, but the good quarterback play has been enough to cover it up, and they can just waltz to the division title because all the rest of these, I mean, the AFC South is zen. You just need to practice breathing exercises if you're a fan of an AFC South team, because they are unbelievably bad at this, or unbelievably good at off-season drama, which typically means that they are unbelievably bad teams. And they have, I mean, the AFC South is unbelievably bad. Year in and year out. Nothing delivers like the AFC South delivers. All right, a little bit of rising and falling on the way out the door. Whose stock rose? Whose stock fell? This week in sports, let me know who you think had the best of it or the worst of it, right after I remind you that if you are in some level of automobile accident, the Bart Durham Injury Law Group is there to help you. They are personal injury attorneys here in Nashville, Tennessee, also serving Kentucky. You deserve to be paid. Blair Durham and the team at Bart Durham Injury Law will get you the results that you deserve. Go online for a free consultation today, bartdurham.com. You can learn more about their firm, more about their case results, and more about their areas of practice. Again, bartdurham.com for more information today. Whose stock rose? Whose stock fell? Well, I think that the other NFL teams that haven't landed a coach or did land a coach today, but had to kind of settle in a poor coaching cycle, the Saints are the biggest stock down candidate out of any of these teams, not named the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is one, Tom, that has been a long time coming for the Jets. Several days in the works, several weeks in the works to target their former player, Aaron Glenn, who not only was a player there, was a coach there. And, I mentioned earlier in the day, this is something that has certainly been celebrated by Jets legends. And really, they started reaching out to Aaron Glenn before yesterday, before he landed in Florham Park, before it became very clear that he was going to get the job. And they actually agreed to terms yesterday. So Aaron Glenn knew that if he wanted it, he was going to be the Jets coach with the right terms and everything. Yesterday afternoon, really just wanted to take a day or so, sleep on it, make sure everything was right, make sure the communication was right, all the different particulars that he wanted to see. And it was right. Called the Saints, told them he was out. They were certainly his other option there. I know he had a lot of love for the Saints organization, but told them they were out. He is now in with the Jets. But you're right, this is a tough job, and that's something that someone very close to Aaron Glenn told me right when he took it, which is he's got his work cut out for him. They got a lot of talent there. I know the talent, especially on defense, was something that drew him to this place. But they got questions at quarterback. They don't have a GM. And they got a lot of things inside the building to fix, but they do believe firmly that Aaron Glenn, one of the better leaders out there, is the person to fix it.
Stock down Jags, stock down Saints. These teams have really, really struggled. Stock down Indiana basketball, who I'm currently watching lose 70-56 against Northwestern in the second half. My basketball team stinks. I wish they would fire their coach. They're probably not going to make the tournament. They're about to fall to 5-4 in conference play. I hate them. I hate them with every fiber of my being. If you guys think this is why you guys would never want me to be a Titans fan, because the team that I love the most is the team that I hate the most. The team that I am a fan of the most, Indiana basketball, is the thing that it's a 4-month headache in my life. And I'm so much meaner to them than I am to your team. So I don't think you guys would ever want me as a Titans fan, because I would be infinitely meaner about the Titans if I had some level of investment in the way that I have a level of investment in this awful, godforsaken, miserable disgrace of a basketball program. Anyway. Stock up Ryan Day, national championship winner. We haven't talked since the national championship. Stock up Ryan Day for sure. Titans, I wouldn't give them a stock up or a stock down. I'm just kind of like, whatever, man. You did a press conference today. Let's on to the next. Let's see you get it right moving forward. Let's see what dividends it pays, and then we'll see whether they had some level of success with it by the time we get to like November to be able to judge whether this first year of Titans whatever is going to end up being successful. But like I said, I'm going to reserve well, I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm going to pass judgment. My judgment is that I don't trust them until they show me reasons to trust them. That's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Bert is saying that Mike Borgonzi is on the morning show at 7:20 tomorrow morning, so you can check that out as well. If you don't get with them, I will look forward to seeing most of you, if not all of you, at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone. See you guys.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville!